Hello, folks, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of the Culture Books podcast. My name is John. I'm joined, as usual, by...
Sheridan.
And welcome, everyone, to the Culture Books Club. I hope you're enjoying it. It's really great to have you listening to us. I've noticed that our listen numbers just keep going up and up and up, so that's all fantastic. But we are here to talk about use of weapons. We've got a Zakalwe chapter, which is always a good start. Sheridan, what are we going to do now?
You're going to spend 30 seconds recapping.
So, the culture is a bunch of huge artificial intelligences that keep trillions of pet humans, because every now and then they find a useful one. They are trying to stop a whole bunch of humanoids fighting a war in space. So they're getting an old team back together of Dizzy Smart and Cheridnine Zakalwe. And they are very, very, very slowly coming together across interstellar space, while many other stories are told.
Good job.
There we go. Okay, so what do we do now, Sheridan?
Now is where I butcher the recap of the chapter.
Right, okay. Well, that's something to look forward to. Are you ready?
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1...
Zakalwe's holed up outside the Winter Palace with this dorky, aristocrat dude called Kiva. Kiva has a princess who's his ward. Her name's Neat. We'll talk about that later. And they're just kind of chilling out there for a while, playing dress-ups, and we learn a lot about Smar and Zakalwe's relationship, or a bit more about it, and they seem to have been close. Was that good?
It was good on time.
What? You didn't think? I thought that was a good one.
It was a pretty good. It was probably your best of this book. Yes. Okay, so it as is often Ian M. Banks' wont, it starts in a very confusing fashion.
Yes.
And we meet Astil Tremurst Kiva, and boy, isn't he made out to be a sack of crap.
Well, he's made out to be a bit of a ponce, yeah.
Not just a ponce, he's a nasty, predatory ponce.
What do you think? What if he's predatory?
Just the way he's looking at Niente and being like, she's my ward, but she could be useful in other ways.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to that, but I mean, and everything about him. This is a simpering, vicious aristocrat who is just temporarily unable to do horrible things to people because the proletarian armies surrounded him.
True.
He is nasty. I do also like, and we'll get this in more depth, the way Niente is portrayed somewhat as a victim of circumstance, and it doesn't matter how nice she actually is as a person, every path open to her, she ends up being horrible.
Oh, really?
That's all the options that he sort of discusses for how he sees
Oh,
her
right.
future
Sorry,
going.
I thought you were talking about the future.
Yeah, well, this is, I mean, admittedly, that's just Zakalwe's view of her future, but, aristocratic young women don't end up being nice people.
Well, she doesn't seem like she was born in the best time for her class.
No, it's a bad time to be an aristocrat, but, that's, the day of the noose is upon them, but, yeah, good.
There was a lot of big words in this chapter.
Like?
Now I get to mispronounce them.
Mm-hmm.
Roculeur? Chiffonnier?
Right.
Escritore?
Yep. No, they're definitely trying to make it seem like these are very poncy people, which is why he's using lots of French words.
It just made me feel a bit dumb.
Long French words.
Dictionary.
Well,
look them up in a dictionary.
You should just get angry at them. And what did you discover in the dictionary?
Oh, that these were sort of mostly to do with weapons.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we sort of meet Kiva flouncing around and then trying to sit in a chair that he breaks. And then Zakalwe enters just being cool, which is annoyingly kind of a big part of Zakalwe's act.
And Kiva finds this quite annoying.
Well, Kiva's like, well, I can be cool. but deep down he knows he isn't. I love this, where he's like, wishing that Zakalwe didn't make him feel so unjustifiably, damn it, inferior.
And what about Zakalwe's name?
What about Zakalwe's name?
War Minister.
Oh, title.
Title, sorry.
Yeah, this is an interesting one in that we're given here for the first time a sense that the culture don't always send Zakalwe out to win. They've sent him out here to lose, but to hold his side together a bit longer. Because, if the opposition win too easily, maybe they won't make the needed changes and reforms. That's just more headcanon. But obviously it's clear in this that Zakalwe's been sent to work with these guys, and he knows he's not here to win.
Yeah.
He's here to try to win, and he, has had great successes and all the rest of it. But, the culture minds play very deep games, and he is but a pawn on the board, and that kind of comes out in this one. Yeah. What did you think of the story about the Mythoclast?
Is that the one where Zakalwe guessed the ending?
He didn't guess the ending. He joked.
No, he guesses the ending.
He's pulling Kiva's leg. Okay, so he tells the whole story of the 30 golden days and how the Mythoclast, outsmarted the archpresbyter. And then Kiva says, "Oh, you know the story?" And Zakalwe says, "No, just a wild guess." And that's Zakalwe pulling Kiva's leg. Yeah,
but isn't it just because the story's kind of like a trope?
No, the whole point is it's such a non-obvious story. And he's so into the detail of it. And then Kiva's like, "Oh, you know the story?" It's like, no. That's just yanking his chain.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I sort of found the story a bit boring.
Okay. And then in the height of effeteness, by hell, you're a rum chap, Zakalwe.
I thought it was rum chap.
That's what I said, rum chap.
You said sharp. Or you putting an accent on.
I was putting an accent on, Sharon. Jesus. You're hard to have a conversation with, And yet here we are, sharing it with the world. Now, you said they were near the Winter Palace, but I believe they are, in fact, in the Winter Palace.
It just says the Winter Palace besieged.
Yes, and they're obviously in it.
I thought they were looking at it.
No, they're under siege.
Right, sorry. Well, that was an important fact I missed.
Yeah. That was why your recap did not get full marks.
Well, always room for improvement.
So, then the description of the siege, and this is interesting. Outside on the snow-strewn plain, amongst the fires and trenches, there were huge wooden siege structures and missile launchers, heavy artillery and rock-throwing catapults, juried field projectors and gas-powered searchlights, a heinous collection of blatant anachronisms, developmental paradoxes, and technological juxtapositions, and they called it progress. So indicating that the rebels have had access to a lot of new technology that they don't know how to use all of it, and so their army's got catapults that medieval people could put together along with high-tech stuff that's ahead of anything in our time.
Yeah, I found it a little confusing, to be honest.
That's the impression it's meant to give. Yes. And then I do love, because Kiva has stupidly opened the blinds. Where's it all to end, Zakalwe? Here, in about 3 heartbeats, if you don't close those shutters or pull those blackout drapes behind you. Yes. Zakalwe is not enjoying working with this idiot,
no,
obviously.
He's not.
I do love, in Kiva's mind, Mr. So-called War Minister Zakalwe like to pretend he had an idea of where it was all going. Yes.
So then they go on to talk about, in that bit, he gets annoyed because he's like, he's just a lucky mercenary who happened to catch the ear of the sacred heirs. So who are the sacred heirs?
We don't know. They're just people.
Oh. Yeah. They don't sound very cool. They sound kind of mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're running this nasty aristocracy. Yeah, and, Kiva's upset. A deputy regent in waiting, no less. With 1,000 years of breeding, natural seniority. Yes.
And so then we find out that it's Smar's fault that they're there.
Well, Smar got me into this, which is, Smar's Zakalwe's handler. She gets him into everything. It's her job to get him into things. They might have given him a sense that he had some sort of choice in it, but, we know how that works in the culture, don't we? Yeah, then there's the line about what he's been through. He'd put his life at risk for them, won a few desperate rearguard actions, and he had tried to tell them what they ought to do, but they'd listened too late, and given him some limited power only after the war was already more or less lost, which anyone who's worked for a sinking ship of any sort of variety knows that feeling. And then we get the little hint that Zakalwe is a bit of a player.
Why?
the line about not much action and maybe he would get itchy feet eventually, but that was more than compensated for by being able to satisfy the more highly placed itches of some of the noble ladies also trapped in the castle.
I thought you were talking about how he talks to the princess. He seems a little young for him.
No, he's much. I mean, compared to Kiva, who's seems appalling with the princess, Zakalwe feels sad that he's looking at this sweet young girl and knowing that all of her options are bad. But at the same time, can you cry too much for these aristocrats? She'd have taken the life of privilege if the time hadn't run out for that.
Yeah, but she's fairly innocent.
It's not like she'd have run off with a blacksmith and, led an ordinary commoner's life.
You never know.
Come on, I mean, we see, that meme with the House of the Dragon with the knight saying, "Oh, come away with me, we'll live as commoners," and she's like, "I've got a dragon. You're going to shovel all that dragon crap." What did you have? So, what was your take on all this?
On all what? What specifically?
This chapter.
Well, I mean, Zakalwe doesn't ever feel like he's ever in the right position. He never really knows if what he's doing is right or helpful. So you get like his kind of existential dread coming out.
Well, he just has to trust that the mines have sent him to do something that's useful.
Yeah, but he doesn't trust that.
Okay, I'm going to read another paragraph. Just once he thought, I'd like to know what side I'm really on in something like this. Here I am in this absurd fortress, packed with riches, crammed with concentrated nobility, such as it was, he thought, watching Kiva's vacant-looking eyes, facing out the hordes beyond, all claw and tackle, brute force and brute intelligence, trying to protect these delicate, simpering products of a millennia's privilege, and never knowing whether I'm doing the tactically or the strategically right thing. I mean, he just needs to lean into it and be like, mines have told me to do this, I'll just do what I'm told.
Well, then he wouldn't be very human, would he?
Yeah, or he wouldn't actually be the human that the mines need either. But I don't think they care too much if he's experiencing existential dread, as long as he does what he's told.
True. I kind of want to know more about the Smar Zakalwe origin story.
Well, I feel that is going to be explored through the duration of this book.
Because when it says, he recalled what Smar had said to him long, long ago back in that new beginning, itself the product of so much guilt and pain. So obviously something was really bad when they met.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to ask yourself where Zakalwe has been that he's ended up in the culture service. And we will explore that. Okay. What do you think of Niente yourself, though?
I mean, I felt sorry for her, but she just seems like she's going to be a casualty of whatever war this is.
Isn't that the funny thing? Like, we always worry... Yeah, they write books about Anastasia and the Russian Civil War, that... And yet it's just these nobles that we're supposed to care about when, there's thousands of lives being extinguished all around and we never even know the names of those people. Yeah. I think he did a good job of making us delve through those feelings, but I certainly felt them. Another line here, he'd done what they'd ask, he'd be paid, and at the end of all this, after all, there was his own attempt to claim absolution for a past crime. Livuetta, say you will forgive me. So, there's a name to remember.
Yes. I used the X-ray function on Kindle, and I didn't read ahead, but it showed me there was a number of references going forward in the book.
Yes.
So I need to be careful with the X-ray function.
Be careful with the X-ray function. I would say, not just this book, a very rare example in Ian M. Banks's oeuvre of a name carrying over. Then we've got, it really sort of just winds up the chapter, doesn't it? And I did love the last paragraph. He ends chapters well, doesn't he? He looked away, shivering again, then threw a piece of wood onto the fire, and did not notice then, or afterwards, that it was a piece of the bloodwood chair he had added to the flames, and not a log at all. So that was the throne that Keeper had destroyed by accident.
Yeah, that he didn't notice and then was so apologetic about, but obviously doesn't really care too much because he's burning it. Yeah. This kind of sums him up as a dude.
Who, Kiva?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, who's your favourite character in this chapter? They've only got 3 to choose from, really.
I guess I'll have to say Niente.
Okay, why her?
Well, Zakalwe probably just is too much of a regular, and he didn't really do much this one.
No, he just made snide remarks.
And you can't really have Kiva, because he was like a douche.
I mean, he was written to be the worst person you can ever imagine.
Yeah,
really.
I like that when he's like flourishing around with his coat, playing play fights.
Trying to be cool, but not quite knowing how to do it. And then, you almost feel sorry for him in that, and then he's sharing a room with an actual stone cold killer who's everything that he wishes he could be, but will never be.
Do you think he would have been a drama kid at school?
If he hadn't grown up in the aristocracy, then maybe. But I mean, there is that line when it's from Zakalwe's point of view of like, he looked at the dull eyes, Not
that there's anything wrong with drama kids per se.
Yeah, but it was nicely done to me in that you start with Kiva's interior view, where he thinks he's the most interesting and fascinating creature that ever lives. And then you get Zakalwe's view of him, and it's like, this is just another chinless wonder with dull eyes. Who's soon going to be victim of the revolution, Viva la Revolution.
Although Kiva does know Zakalwe is cooler than him.
Yeah, but he resents it.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, how come this person's allowed to be cooler than me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are just about done.
I think so too.
Yeah, nice one. So what's the next chapter, Sheridan?
Ooh, I didn't actually look. Let me have a look-see.
So the next chapter, and this is going to be for episode 6, is the chapter called 3. As we know, these...
Sorry, I forgot they weren't named after ships.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you could have a ship called 3.
True, but...
Okay, thank you folks for listening very much. Sheridan's working hard to ramp up the production schedule, as you can see by the fact that we're in your ears within a week. Within a week, Sheridan. Yeah.
That's the sound of a high five.
Yeah, we called it.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you folks again for listening. We really do appreciate you coming along on this journey with us, and we will try to be back in a few days with chapter named 3.